Now let's try Flowgorithm for one of the examples. Flowgorithm is an application which is showing you like the code you have written according to some shapes. Even if you didn't write the code, you may simply think of the code first of all with shapes and then change your code into some like a written code. So I have the main and I have the end, which is the main is this main and the end is return zero, let's say. This is the end of the line. So what do we have right now? I don't need these things. What I need is an age and a decide. So how many variables I have? I have two variables. So I click on this sign and I will create two variables. One of them is integer and the other. Okay. So I will say some variables. Declare, so these are the variables, either declaring variable or assigning the variable. These are control structures, if statement and stuff, and then calling, looping, while loop, for loop, and do while loop. Okay, and these are input and output, input and then output. So I'm going to declare two variables. One variable is, the variable name is what is age, and it is an integer. Okay, and the second variable is what? Second variable is decide, which is boolean if I have it, boolean, then decide. So I have two variables, and one of them is integer, one of them is boolean, and yeah, that's it. So the two variables is finished, and I'm going to use let me use do while. So if you see this one is always happening. This one is always happening, and if the condition was true, it will return them. So what's my condition? My condition is that while decide okay, while decide. And where I get this decide, look at this. Where I get this decide from a decide, from a scene. So before that, I should have an input. And the input is for which variable? Is for decide variable. So I have main, I have integer age, and where is the age is inserted? Before the decide. So I will click on this, and I am having an output, and I will click on it. I'm having an input, and input choice. So this one is cout interior age, then age. So here I will write interior age, then interior age. This one I should say an input, not output, an input. The input is what? The input is age. And here I will say an output, and the output is what? Do you want to continue? I'm going to close it. Okay, so I have an age, I have a decide. I'm going inside the do while, enter your age. So here is enter your age. C in age, here's C in age. And there is a while loop inside, while age smaller than 10 and age bigger than 10. So here before this one I have a while loop, so I will click on this and I will click on this as well. So while the condition, while age bigger than what? Okay, smaller than 10 and age bigger or equal to 150. Okay, so let me just make this into one chain. Okay, so cout interior age, scene age, while it's smaller than 10 and age bigger or equal to than 150. What's happening if it was something like this? So you should have an output, interior age, and an input. And the output is interior age. And the input is age. Okay? So this is a while loop which was inside. If it is true, the while loop was true, it will come inside here and it will return until this point again. And then if it was true, if this was false, so if the age was not below 10 and the age was not bigger than 150, this time the case is false and it will come here. Do you want to continue from the big while loop? So input decide. If the decide was true, it will come again, come here. If the decide was false, it will go out. You see? So this is a very nice. I'm just going to a bit minimize it. So interior age, boolean decide, it will come inside the while loop. Interior age, input age. If the age was less than 10 and this was bigger than 150, then output interior age, input age, ask the user to enter the age again and again. And then if this case was not true, then the false, it will come out of the while loop and come here. Do you want to continue? Input decide. If the decide was true, it will continue. If the decide was false, it will end. And I'm going to run it, let's say fast run. Sorry, here. Okay. So slow motion. Okay, so I'm going to look at this. I'm right now, I'm closing it and I'm going to make it slow and I'll run it. Enter age, enter decide, while decide. Okay, look at this. It didn't uh, it didn't come to here, it directly goes here. So interior age directly, it doesn't know what's the decide. We didn't write anything inside the decide. So directly from this point came here. So interior age, I will write 1. And interior, it came here. So input, then the age, look at this. Is the age smaller than 10? Okay, in here we did a mistake. Sorry, the same mistake again, 4. Yes. I'm going to run my program again and then boolean then comes here into your age, then enter my age. I'm going to put 1 and then it comes here true and enter your age input. It asks me in here. Right now it is in this green color. So if I put 1 again, I enter it, it will come here and then come here again and then input again. And I will write 155 and return then interior age input age. You see, it will return until the input, the age was not according to this rule. Like if it was 10 or less than 150, then it accepts it. So if I write 149, it's going to accept it this time and then comes to do you want to continue, input decide, and then ask me do you want to continue. So if I write 1, this means that I want to continue. Do you want to continue? So there's a problem here. While decide, if I write true, okay. You must define a function before you can call it your program. So there was a problem here. It says the decide. We said the decide is boolean, and the result for decide should be either 1 or true or false. I don't know why I didn't accept it. And let me just try this one again. So interior age, I'm going to put 11, 12, and then it comes here input decide, and maybe I will say 1. It is accepting value enter value of type boolean for decide. It is, let's say, true, and if it's accepting true, I don't know. No, I didn't accept it. I couldn't find a way, but you can change this one into an integer, and I will say input side equals to 1. So I have changed this one into an integer decide, and then if the user insert, so if the user pressed 1, it will continue. I'm going to run it again, and with a slow, it comes here, then here, in interior age, and let's say 12, and everything is good. Input decide, we should insert 1, and then it comes back. It should come back here, and then it comes back again here. So there should be, I don't know, if there's a problem with the application. I will try to fix it, and maybe in the next sessions we'll talk about this one. Okay, so this is the whole procedure of using a while loop and a do while loop. The while loop was inside the do while loop, and yeah, and that's it. If I want to create, let's say, file, new file, do you want to discard? Let me save this file just to make sure. I'll be fixing next desktop. I will see, and then I will say flow go while. Okay, and then I'm going to open a new file. So inside the new file, we have talked about for loops, and I'm going to create a for loop. When I open the for loop, I am seeing something like this. What's the variable? Starting value, ending value, and then increasing by what? You see, the variable is, let's say, is, I don't know if it's accepting it, integer a. I don't think it will accept it by this way. So before the for loop, I'm going to have a variable, and I will say, let's say start, and it is integer, and then I will say another variable, and it is end. Okay, and here I will say the variable is the start. In fact, we can have it, sorry, we may have it directly. Let me delete the start. So this one is start, and what is the value? It is 1. The end value, I can say the end, and the increase is 1. Okay, and this one I'm going to say assigning the value. I will say the end variable is 10. So what I have first of all a variable which is integer. The name for the variable is end, and the value for the variable is 10. And we have a for loop which is starting from 1 until end. What's end? It is 10. And what do you want to print it inside the for loop? I will simply say hello. So I'm outputting hello for how many times? 14 times, I think. So slow motion, and I'm going to run it. Comes here, then here, then start 1 to end, and first be declared is saying. So there's a problem here. It says I cannot accept start. The variable start, I should direct increasing my. In here we should also see there's increasing and decreasing as well. Okay, so I'll try to declare this variable and declare the variable's name is start. So the variable is start, and start is equals to 1 and start and start. Okay. Integer start, then start 1 to end, then hello, then hello, input, then hello, then it goes, then goes. Okay. Look, each time it is like returning to the same point and it's outputting something. And then end. So 10 outputs and then it ends. Okay, if I wanted to have a result, declare another variable. So declare result. So I'm going to declare another variable which is result, and the result, the value of the result is 0. So I have another variable which is result. The value of the result is 0, and here I'm going to assign the result, or yeah, let's assign it. Result plus result plus equals to start. I don't know if it's accepting it. It is not accepting it. Result equals to result plus start. Okay. So in here the result is 0 first of all, and it comes here. Start is 1. It starts from 1 and to the end, and then result is 0. It becomes 1. Then result becomes stuff and stuff. And here I will output the result. Okay. Comes here. Feature result equals to 0. Starts 1 to end. And the result plus start, and then it becomes 1. It shows us the result. Then it shows us 3. So this is the result. Then 6. So you see, this way you may see the procedure of how the addition of the result with the start is happening. And then 36, 45, then 55 plus 10. Yeah. So this was the steps of having the result, having the addition of all the variables. We can have here we can have an if statement as well. So if it was something like this, then do this. So this is everything about the for loop. And inside this, by the way, inside this for loop, I can have another for loop. So inside this for loop, I can create another for loop. So if I say from 1 to 10, and the other for loop is, let's say I have start, I have a result, and I will delete this result, and I will say I'm going to change the variable result into column, and start to what? To row. So I have integer, this one is end, integer row, and then integer column. This is this is known as row, variable row to until end. Then this is variable column. The start value is 1, the end value is end, and increase by 1. and inside here we were showing an output. The output was something like hash and then a space. What we have done was that. So what we have done is we have declared a row, we have declared a column. Inside the first for loop, I have declared that I have assigned the row 1 until n. And inside that second for loop, I have assigned the column 1 until the end and then showing the hash. When we run this in the, let's see, row equals to 1 and then the output is 1. You see, this one is happening totally. It's showing output. And then let's see. I think we should fix something. Okay. Okay, thank you. We should fix this one, not having new line. And okay, and have an integer end which is 10, an integer row, integer column, integer rows using in the first loop. In the first row, in the first for loop, the integer column is used inside the second for loop. After the second for loop, we deleted this new line, but we should have a new line here maybe, and which is an output, and the output is only composed of a new line. Yeah, there's nothing inside it. And let's this time run the code and let's see what is the result. So it will come here and then okay, there's a problem, it says. Okay, so if there's a problem I will give nothing here. Okay, if it's not accepting this, so I will try it too, maybe. And then it's coming to the new line, and then it's coming to the new line. Then if you see this, it will come to here once and then start the whole for loop here again, and then comes here again, and then every element of the second for loop, and then comes back again. So this is the pattern of the two for loop inside each other. We can change this one column starting from 1, and maybe this one we will change this one into row. If you remember, there was a column, there was something like this, so we'll try to have the output like this, and I'm going to make it slow, and if it works I'm going to try. Okay, then each column, then row equals to 1 output, then it goes back, then output, then row equals to 2, then 1, then 2, then to the big for loop, then 1, then 2, and 3 out to the big for loop, come inside again. So you remember this kind of code we have written. So this is according to the shapers, this is how the for loop in fact is happening in the background. One, two, three, four. Can't we change this one into medium? Yeah, okay, nice. And then okay, very nice. So this is how everything has happened here in the Flowgorithm. So basically it showed us how in fact the code is generating, how the code is working. And here there was tools, also source code viewer. There's source code viewer. We may see this. This is the code in fact in C++. It generated the C++ code for you according to what you have inserted here. So this is the code that's generated by the Flowgorithm itself is showing that what you have written was something like this. You have generated some variables, then a for loop, then inside that for loop there was another for loop showing something that then the big for loop is closing, then return 0. So this is how the Flowgorithm converted my shapes into its code, and then according to this code it's running the let's say the application. So I think this is everything about for loop and while loop. And let's see if we have any other things. Here we have a program that we have the square of the values inside. So this is 1, the square of 1 is 1. The square of 2 is 4. The square of 3 is 9. So this is very simple example. It has used what it has used. It has used maybe for loop. Yeah. No, while loop. So it has used while loop to do this stuff, and you can use for loop as well for the same purpose. Okay. So here we have an average of the marks which have been inserted. Let's say score 1, score 2, score 3. We have 3 variables, and then we have average, which is not initialized, and we have char again. So average is equals to score 1 by 3, which means the average, and 3.0, which means that the average is double and the result will be doubled. So if these are all integers, it will be casted into double. And then you see how the average is average. And then do you want to continue another set? If y, then again. If n, then means not again. While again was equals to y capital or y small. Repeat to the previous point, and then it will return. Nice example. This is zero loop when you are saying a equals to 5 and you are saying is a smaller than or equal to than 3, while a smaller or equal to than 3. So there's no possibility that a is smaller or equal to than 3. So this means that no loop is happening. The loop will shut directly. But if I'm using the while loop, then for the same situation, you may see this one-time loop is happening because it will not see the decision first. It will do the inside, then goes to the decision. Okay. Okay. This is the same example. Use it for loop, and this is the minimum number and maximum number are inserted by the user. So counter equals to minimum number and smaller than maximum number, counter plus plus is showing some numbers, and according to the user's insertion the program will go. So if the user inserted for the minimum 5, for the maximum number 7, so it will go 2 times. If the minimum number the user which inserted was 1 and the maximum number was 100, so this will be repeated 100 times, counter by counter. So which means that the first time, let's say this is 1 minimum number, the user inserted 1. For the maximum number, you inserted 5. So it will be counter equals to 1. 1 by 1 equals 4. The counter equals to, let's say, 3. So 3 by 3 is will be counted, and so on. So in here 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the minimum number was 5, the maximum number was 10. Yeah. So the minimum number becomes 5, 5 by 5, 5, 25, 6 by 6, 36. So it's multiplying itself by multiplying counter by itself. Okay, we can have a situation like this. It's not important. What we said is we only have 2 semicolons, but we can have more than 1 variables here, but separating them by comma. Let's say x equals to 1, y equals to 1, let's equals to 5. It's not a big deal, but the problem is we should only have 2 semicolons and 3 parts, which means that this one is one part. Even if you have comma between them, this is one part. This one, this after the semicolon, this is the second part, and after the semicolon, this is the third part. So there's no problem with that, either having many variables here declared. Okay. Okay, we have sentinel. Sentinels are only one, like variable while loops, uh, which are we are saying not equal to -1. So this is known as sentinels. Let's say in this example, we are saying integer grade -1 to exit. So when I'm saying -1 to exit, we means this is a sentinel. A sentinel means this one, yeah, a special value that marks the end of the list of values. Let's say seeing grade, we are inserting some grade, and the grade, let's say it was 75, 80, 69, 74, 88. So any kind of values we have inserted. But whenever we wanted to stop inserting our numbers, I'm just going to insert -1. So when you are inserting -1, I'm getting out of the while loop and I'm getting the total, which we have here, which is the total plus the whole grade we have inserted, and divide by counter. The counter is what we have inserted, just like here, counter plus plus, and the starting point for the counter is here. I'm saying counter equals to 0, and every time I do an operation here inside the while loop, I make the counter plus one. So we'll have the total of the whole numbers added, and the counter, which was adding by what compiler came inside the while loop and continues. And it's known as sampling. It's a nice technique to use while loop. Here, infinity while loop or infinity for loop, you see this, we have two semicolon, but nothing inside it. So this means that if the starting is anything, the condition is anything, and the ending anything, so means that please continue forever. And when we are saying while true, this means that there is no condition that makes this one a false. So if there is no false at all, this condition, this while loop, will happen forever. Okay. Okay, this is, yeah, this is a nice example of using, let's say, what do we say? Hours, minutes, and seconds. So in every hour there are 60 minutes, and in every minutes there are 60 seconds. So you see this, hours equals to 0 until 24. So 0 until 24, not 24 includes, so 23. You can say 23 and here equal, the same thing. And hours plus plus. So this means it starts from 0 and then 1 and then 2, then 3 until 23. And in each of the hours, 60 minutes is happening. 60 minutes, we have it. So the minutes are starting from 0 minutes until 59.99. And then it becomes 0 again. And in each minute, we have 60 seconds, which starting from 0 until 59. Let's see. So you see this, in every hour there is this much minute, and in every minute there is this much second. Okay, so set with by 2 means that place two, like make this double colon, let them to be in the same place if there is 7 or if there's 10. Let's say, if look at this, if there is 10 and under it if there is 7, you may see a place here like this place, and it make the program maybe not to be much readable. Like in order to overcome the situation, we have done what set with by 2 means that any of them, like the hours, the minute, and the second, they have two places. Either they are going to use them or they are not going to use them. Okay, let these call it with means let's say provide two places for each of them. Provide two places for hours, then colon. Provide two spaces for minutes, then colon. Then set with two places for seconds. And when we have provided these 2 seconds for them, they will not write 07. That's why we any places there was a space because of the set width. Make these make these make these spaces to be 0. So these things, the 7 will be written here, but there will be no 0 in front of it. So this line cout.fill0 means that if there was a space before them inside due to the set width, please provide a 0 before it, or provide 0 in that place. Okay, so these values are by default in the rightest place of the column. So if there is 5 spaces, it will be 0 0 0 0 then 7. Okay, and that's it. So it will be continuing from the first hour, then the second hour, then it will goes and goes, and it will not finish. Like it needs too much amount of time to finish it. So this is for the minute and the second, and the same example for the nested loop. And what do we have here? R equals to 1. So we have created such example in our code. This is talking about this, and we have created such example as well. So this one are for the nested loop. This is everything about for loop and while loop, and also do while loop. And have a nice time.